and this is a moment in Torah from right here in beautiful East Texas. This week we finish up the book of Exodus at Parshat Pekudei, and we see that God has given instructions to Moses on building the tabernacle. And Moses came down from the top of Mount Sinai, and he told the people, this is what God has said, and when we do this, he will come and he will live in us. And so everybody went to work. They built the tabernacle, and it was a beautiful and glorious structure. That's not what I want to talk about. I want to talk about the clothing of the high priest. Now, before I get into that, I want to step back just a little bit to Genesis chapter 37 and verse 4, where it says that Jacob loved Joseph more than the rest of his children, and he made for him a ketonet pasim. A coat of many colors is the way it gets translated, but what it literally means is a tunic of stripes. Okay, now the stripes were of different colors, but it's the idea that it was the stripes. Ketonet pasim begins with two very important letters. Ketonet begins with the letter kuf, which the sages of Israel say represents the first redemption. Now this is very important. And the letter Pei, which begins the word pasim, is what represents the second redemption. So what are we talking about here? Well, the sages of Israel have long said that there will be two Messiahs. The first one will be Mashiach ben Yosef, Messiah, the son of Joseph, the suffering Messiah. And then there will be Mashiach ben David, the victorious Messiah. Now we go back to Joseph. He had this ketonet pasim, this tunic of many different stripes, and Joseph would be the one who would redeem his family, have them brought to Egypt, and their lives would be saved. So, and that we kind of see, his suffering and everything else that went before him, that he did serve as a redeemer, but that's not exactly what Israel is talking about. If you want to know who the suffering servant is, look at Isaiah chapter 53. He was wounded for our transgressions, bruised for our iniquities. The chastisement for our peace was upon him. Now I'll come back to that a little bit later. And right now I want to take a quick journey into the garment of the priesthood. The priest himself would wear a ketonet, and his sons would also wear ketonim. They would wear these garments. And if you look at the garment of the high priest as it's described, it also has woven into it many different colors. So this is also a ketonet pasim. Like, the idea here is this is part of the process of redemption. Well, we know that Israel is the priesthood of God. It is the priesthood of the nations. And we also know that Israel has suffered now in Isaiah 53 since the days of Rashi in the Middle Ages and up through today. The commentators of the Torah have said Isaiah 53 is about Israel. And I think some of that was a reaction against a lot of the bombastic teachings of Christianity that were, quite honestly, were taken way out of context, especially the teachings of Paul. Well, before that, before Rashi, the commentators were saying, well, Isaiah 53 is about the suffering servant, the coming Messiah. Well, the question is, who's correct? And the answer is yes, both are correct. You cannot separate the Messiah from the nation of Israel. And as Yeshua, or Jesus as our Christian brothers and sisters call him, he told the woman at the well, salvation comes from the Jews. Now, so the high priest wearing this garment with stripes was carrying on in a way the work of Joseph, working the process of redemption through this striped garment. But we also know that years later Messiah himself would come. In Isaiah 53 it would say, He was wounded for our transgressions. By his stripes we are healed. He also had to bear stripes himself, just like Joseph. He is the suffering Messiah. But here's the great thing about it. The high priest had another garment, and this garment was for on the Day of Atonement, and it was all white. He could wear nothing else except for just all white. His other colors he laid aside. He laid aside his glorious garments. Yeshua laid aside his glory, and he went into the Holy of Holies with the blood of a bull and later with the blood of a goat, and he would make atonement for the people of Israel. Now, the temple is not among us today. Brothers and sisters, the temple will be rebuilt, and Yeshua will come back to Jerusalem, not Rome, not San Francisco, not New York, not Beijing. He's coming back to Jerusalem, and he will inhabit that place, and he will live in us. Now, what about right now? Well, yeah, our bodies are temples of the Holy Spirit, but that doesn't take place at the temple in Jerusalem. Can you imagine what it's going to be like when our King returns, and all of his splendor and all of his glory, and he does the final atonement as the high priest? It will be a glorious day. But this time, no more stripes upon his flesh. No various colored garments. No, this time his garment is going to be stained with the blood. And he will come, and he will dwell in us, and he will be our King. What a great and glorious day that's going to be. Shalom, everybody.